the music of living, happy songs from the laughter of children at play. Hold my hand as we run through the sweet fragrant meadows, making memories of what was today. For we have this moment to hold in our hands and to touch as it slips through our fingers like sand. Yesterday's gone and tomorrow may never come, but we have this moment today. Susanna Wesley, as a young mother, I got the opportunity to study her life. You know, she was born in the 1600s when women weren't particularly honored or got to do a lot of special things through ministry. She was the 25th child born to her parents. And then she married Samuel, and they had 19 children. But she buried almost half of them in her lifetime. And she had a challenging marriage. Samuel was not always easy to live with, and they have quite a few stories out there about some of the things that happened. They had financial problems. They were in debt many times. They were persecuted by the people in their church and the people in their town. Their crops were burned, and their house was burned 2 times. And one of those times they almost lost John Wesley. He was up in an upstairs room, and they almost lost him, but he was saved. So I'm telling you about a woman that did not have an easy life. But her prayer was, Lord, I want my life to count. Let me start it with my children. Her prayer was, Lord, let me start a fire within my home that would burn all across London. And let me start a fire in my home that would burn all across England. And then, Lord, let that fire go on and burn all the way around the world. Well, that kind of sounds like revival to me. And that's what you've been looking at the last several weeks. Ben's been telling me that you've been studying how great revivals started. And that's exactly what God did in her life. As she prayed that prayer, there were 2 little boys at her fingertips, at her skirt, at the bottom of her skirt, that as she poured her life every day into them, they would grow up to take the message of Jesus Christ all around the world through their preaching and teaching, through their songs and through their hymns. Yes, she started revival in their home. And as a young mother, as I heard that, I thought, Lord, I want that for my life. I want to raise a godly seed. Children are like arrows in the hand of a mighty warrior, the scripture says. And my husband and I wanted to take those arrows and shoot them someday to change the world. Not of ourselves, please hear me. Not of ourselves, but only by His grace. Scriptures that I love, that have meant so much to me. Matthew 16:25. He who lays down his life shall find it. And if you'll let me, I'd like to kind of apply these as mothers. But she who lays down her life will find it. She who sows in tears shall reap in joy. Motherhood is not for the faint of heart. Whatsoever a mother soweth, that shall she reap. Redeeming the time, for the days are evil. The greatest assignment that I have ever received from the Lord, the greatest challenge, the greatest job He ever gave me was to raise my family, to impact their lives through Him and raise a godly seed, children mighty in spirit. The greatest job was to start a fire in my home. Now, the Lord is using me now, and He will continue, but there will never be a time like that time. I tell my daughters, I say, you won't blink, and it will be over. So, young ladies, mothers, hear me this morning as I exhort you for this great opportunity. Don't miss it. Deuteronomy 30:19 says, I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore, choose life, that both you and thy seed may live. That's what I challenge you to do this morning, mothers, is to choose life. I pray that you'll be resolved to hold tight and redeem the precious time, to focus on the eternal. You know, there are a lot of things out there that are shiny and gold, but they are fade away and they're temporal. That you would lay the foundation for revival in your home. And mothers, there's many of you that maybe your children are grown like me and our roles have changed, but we still, with all our hearts, need to be mothers of encouragement, of influence, and help. Do not give up doing good. Keep pouring your life out and loving and being intentional with your grandchildren and your children. And that goes for women everywhere, whether you have children or not. God has used women to love and nurture and grow the lives of children, to make a difference and bring revival to our country. Until our dying breath, that we would be crying out in their behalf. Oh, that we would start a revival in our homes. There are things in this world that will last forever, and there are things that will fade as the grass and the flower. Oh, redeem that precious time and don't wait for tomorrow to look back and wish for today. For we have this moment to hold in our hands and to touch as it slips through our fingers like sand. Yesterday's gone, and tomorrow may never come, but we have this moment today.